Stop the music altogether. How's everybody doing tonight? So, I wanted milk and cookies. So I went and got milk, whole milk, because I love the fat, but not the stuff you get from the cow, which is supposed to be better. And I got cookies. So you're gonna see me munching on milk and cookies for a while. Hey, Scott. All right, let's see here. Let's go through the list. We have the Zen Ginger here. We have Sianta. Big J up in the house. Bella. How you doing, Bella? Scott Backer. How you doing, Bubba? Holly. How you doing, Holly? Not a moderator, but you are now. We got Tenra. Tenra and Sianta, and if Julie's here, those are my Patreons. I only have a couple. It's fine. It's a modest crowd, but they get me through. Quincy, how you doing? Chattanooga Ed, how's it going, Bubba? I love this hoodie, but I'm not trying to sweat to death on stream. There we go. Oh yeah. Yeah, Scott, I got merch. Like I was just wearing it, or if you look behind me, let me see here. I got my wall tapestry. You too can have a creepy wall tapestry like me. Or even the pillows. I got the pillows over there. I can grab one a little later. Um, yeah. Yay for milk and cookies. That's all I'm saying. Nothing but love for the Creep King. I appreciate that, horn dog. Now, if you can just keep it in your pants long enough. Support the Chappy. You ready to get crazy tonight? Well, I slept all day, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was up around noon. I stayed up. Um, I I slept. I went to bed at like 9 yesterday. Yesterday, and like I woke up at like 3. I was like, crap, I'm not tired. So I woke up and I stayed up until noon. I was like, well, maybe I'll just take a little. No, I woke up at like 8 o'clock this evening or 9 o'clock this evening. I was like, well, my sleep schedule is totally screwed now. So that's kind of awesome. Um, I promise I'll try to behave today, Chappy. Please don't block me. But if I block you, it's a rite of passage, right? That's how it works. Oops, can't forget the wall tapestry. Or the hoodies or the socks. I mean, there's so much merch. Um, if you two want to look creepy, I mean, just you don't have to buy my merch to look creepy, right? So I haven't done creepy stories in a while. Well, actually, I kind of did. I did creepy stories. I was drunk. It was during the 24-hour fish stream. I did a story. It was good times. But there weren't many people in there. There was a few of you. And it was kind of fun. But I haven't really done stories in a while. So I figured we can do some stories. Yeah, Chappy, sleep is weird. I slept all day too. Cianza, same here. I've been saving. I'll buy the whole store for. I've been saying I've been buying the whole store for a while now, but financial things get in the way. I'm saving up like $400 for all the merch. Oh man! Even the women's clothing. Cianza will own it. He's gonna have his own Chappy museum. Sorry, I don't wear clothes, Chappy. It's okay. Oh, all my true fans are on the same sleep schedule. Oh, poor Zen. It's I got a lot of stuff. I got the social medias and I got the merch and I got the Discord and I got the this and the that and the oh. You don't have to go through all that. All right, well, it as a good read in the fish days, Tenra. I don't get it. I'm kicked out of the fish family. Uh oh, horn dog. Were you getting too dirty in the fish fam room? Some garbage stories they've been peddling here lately. Real garbage. I read The Whistler in the Night just a day or two ago. Hey Pam, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. I saw your reminder for your stream. I'm looking forward to doing it. Holy crap! It's New Year's Eve morning. So I'm gonna sleep and wake up and it'll be New Year's. That'll be cool. And we'll all be over at Pam's for New Year's. And it'll be awesome. I'll make sure I get the alcohol ready, so I'm drunk on New Year's. Oh, these cookies are just. All right, well. You really got to ask why Horndog gets blocked from anywhere. I think my channel's one of the few that'll let him, unless he's too raunchy, just say what he has to say. Because if he gets to be too much, let me know, guys. But he really is, part of the weird family. Like he perpetually has just hit puberty. Does that make sense? But he's good people. Oh, geez, horn dog. Oh, Seansa. He finally got back to his cat. His cat was meowing to him yesterday when he was out of town. Going, mew, mew, mew. Story. Or we can just BS for a while. I'm down with that too. Who wants to hear 11 rules for idiots who bought a haunted house? Am I co-hosting Pam's stream again? You'll let me up on the panel if I let you talk too? Oh, that's too funny. I saw Lakeshore Paranormal. Welcome to the stream. I love my paranormal folks. Let's check out your channel. I want to say I've seen you before. Maybe it was just perusing the YouTubes. 10 minutes alone in a morgue. Old Stimson Hospital. Oh, you've only had like 100 episodes? I'm like at 200 something, and it's fine. A Night of Many Voices. Shadow Figures. If you guys like the real creepy stuff, check out Lakeshore Paranormal. Yeah. And I thought I added you as a moderator. Well, you're a moderator now, Lakeshore. So as much as I would like to do more of the paranormal stuff, I'm a live streamer. And while creepy things do happen to me while I'm streaming, I just do the creepy pastas and stuff because they're fun. Yeah, so I always love these streams because the fish people and the creepy people and the don't listen to Pam. She liked getting you subs. No, it was if you guys didn't check out the stream that we're talking about, y'all missed it because it was a lot of fun. It was especially fun kicking her off her own stream. Horn dog, you're not gonna fool me again. I'm not gonna read that. over the YouTubes. I think you know why. I volunteered in Old Morgan. It's a beautiful building, which is now a Baptist free store ministry. It is dangerous to ingest alcohol that way. So here we go. This is 11 rules for idiots who bought haunted houses. I'll give you the link because, words are hard. They're hard, okay? Whatever. But if you like the story, while I continuously play with my mustache, if you like the story, go in and click the link and give them an upvote because they do appreciate that. So this one falls under the deaths, murders, and disappearances, ghosts and spirits, investigations and crimes, and strange and unexplained. It's got an 8.4 out of 10, so this should be pretty fun. So I guess we will start. Let me put my chat here and shrink my screen so I can see what y'all's talking about. So Lakeshore, if you're still here, maybe some of these tips, if you could, if you can give credence to some of these tips, or you can elaborate on some of them if I don't, I'd appreciate that. This is by Zacharias Frost. Well, you really screwed up this time, didn't you? You found a gnarly deal in a beautiful home that almost seems too good to be true, and you jumped at it. And now you're all moved in, you've started to notice some anomalies. You know the type. The spooky dooky anomalies in the supernatural persuasion. Bumps in the night. Doors opening and closing by themselves. Auditory hallucinations. Voices and whispers. It's more common than you might think. But not everyone realizes the danger. These signs could be proof that some forsaken lost souls inhabit your property. Maybe the previous grandmother immolated in the attic. Hey, K-Town. I'm already messing up the words. Maybe dear old dad went suddenly insane and repainted the house with the blood of his children. Or mom tried seducing demons in the basement. If this sounds even vaguely familiar to you, and you were looking to the good old internet for help, then you've come to the right place. You see, I have this friend, had this friend named Nathan. That's a couple months back, Nathan found a house for sale in southern Georgia. It was nestled along a remote stretch of woods just outside of Waycross. It was a historical area, the old colonial-style home, just under 5,000 square feet, 6 bedrooms, 6 bath, with a white picket fence and a dozen acres. The quintessential American dream house by all accounts. The price was unbelievably low, but after Nathan contacted the real estate agent, he found the price that he had seen listed was indeed the price that was being asked. For most people, I imagine that would raise some pretty big red flags. Nathan was an idiot. The confident type of idiot that believes in machismo and substantial for conquering all life's obstacles. I know it's not kind to speak ill of the dead like that. Spoiler alert. But I'm just trying to give an accurate portrayal of the kind of person Nathan was. You know the alpha male who hits on his girlfriend, lives at the gym, and probably spanks his meat to his own selfies? I know that kind of person. For people like Nathan, friend is just really another word for ego reinforcer. He was cocky and often let his pride get the better of him. His wife, Janelle, was actually my ex-girlfriend from a while back. Bit of a skank, but practically a supermodel. They had 2 kids, Natalie and Mason, who were both spoiled brats. Again, I'm just trying to give an honest perspective of them in hopes that we may all learn something from what had happened. What had happened was, you see, what happened to Nathan, which I'll get into later, is something which I believe could have been easily avoided if only he had followed a few simple instructions. After the funeral, I got to pondering on the matter and realized what we all really need is a set of rules to follow if you believe your house is haunted. So let's begin. Rule 1. When looking to purchase or rent a house, always ask for the history. Odds are, if a house is being offered way too below market value, then there's a good reason for it being that way. Nathan didn't do this, and he thought it was under market was simply a universe handing him something that he really didn't earn, as it often seemed to do. Nathan jumped on the offer, and within a few weeks, he and his family were approved and began moving in. I volunteered to help them move in, and I'll be honest, the house was absolutely gorgeous. Things were great for them at first, but Nathan soon started noticing some odd occurrences. It seemed with this knocking sound that seemed to reverberate all over the house at odd hours. He said he could never seem to pinpoint where it was coming from. It never seemed to originate from the same place twice. Eventually, he chalked it up to the house settling. But that was just the beginning. Rule 2. Trust your gut. Your home is the last place you should ever feel uncomfortable. If you get an inkling of discomfort in the back of your mind that never seems to fully dissipate, pay attention to it. It's probably your subconscious trying to warn you. Nathan tried ignoring these sounds, told his wife that it was just normal or the wind, and confronted his children. Confronted? He got mad at his children when they felt scared, confronted them. It just looked funny. He had 2 dogs, Rusty and Sailor, both of them black labs, and both seemed to become very anxious after moving in. Nathan did his best to get medication to help the dogs relax, but it didn't seem to help much. That brings me to rule number 3. Along with your gut, you should also trust your pets. Animals have an instinct far greater than humans. It's been said that man is the only creature who will sense danger and still wander into it. Animals have a sense for the supernatural, dogs and cats in particular. If you find them growling at what appears to be nothing or constantly staring into a specific area of the house, then pay attention to that. Odds are that they can see something you can't. Nathan told me that Rusty, the older dog of the 2, would pace in the hall each night for hours. He said it was like he was standing guard over something. On more than one occasion, Rusty suddenly blurted into a ferocious bout of barking and snarling. Nathan would come into the hall, but never found anything. He grew concerned for Rusty and took him to the vet, but the vet confirmed he was in good health. Meanwhile, Sailor, the younger dog, slept at the side of Mason's bed each and every night. The poor boy soon developed crippling nightmares that would soon torment him relentlessly. Sailor seemed to sense it. Each time Mason would wake up screaming, Sailor would be there and try to comfort him. And this segues perfectly into our next rule. Rule 4. Beware of the nightmares. Young children are similar to animals in a way that they seem to be more perceptive to things that adults are not. This one can be difficult because there are many root causes of nightmares with things like anxiety, depression, and other mental illness. The telltale sign is whether your child suddenly develops them soon after entering the home. Poor Mason had absolutely horrific dreams the night after night. He would be tormented by them. He often spoke of the blurry man that came to him when he slept and whispered terrible things. He even said that sometimes he would see blurry man while he was awake, but never more than a quick glimpse, and always in the shadows or outside in the woods. Nathan and his wife worried that perhaps Mason was schizophrenic, but multiple doctors confirmed this was not the case. They tried giving Mason sleeping pills, various supplements that burned incense. They burned incense to try to help him sleep more peacefully. It worked for a while, until Natalie started having them too. Rule 5. This many. Try to determine what kind of spirit you are dealing with. If you see flashes of a small child running through the halls at night or orbs spiraling in the air, then odds are your ethereal neighbor is rather benign. Some people even discover they rather enjoy the life of a spectral roommate and find their antics to be rather interesting. Pam with her haunted cat story. Most people believe that spirits who pass away before completing what their soul desired will become stuck in a sort of purgatory. Many are scared, confused, and angry, but some, primarily young children, seem to be almost jubilant at times. Most of these are unnerving but altogether harmless. And then there's the other sort of spirits. Rule 6. If you or any other member of your family develop inexplicable bruises, cuts, lesions, and then do not take them lightly, this would be a massive red flag, and it is a very bad sign. If you feel as though you are being attacked when you sleep, you wake up with unexplained scratches and wounds, then just get the hell out of the house, honestly. A malevolent spirit capable of inflicting physical wounds is not something to be trifled with. Odds are it is a demon, and honestly, that's the best case scenario. There are other non-Abrahamic related entities that could be responsible as well. They are very rare, but if encountered, well, I'm afraid even my handy set of rules won't be enough to stop them. Natalie and Mason suffered multiple scratches and marks, wounds, and even a few bruises that almost look like bite marks. Nathan's wife, Janelle, was also subject to these attacks. The children's teachers at schools began to notice and became quite worried for their safety. Obviously, their first thought was not the paranormal, but rather that the children were being abused at home. Only when social services threatened to remove the children from custody did Nathan finally agree to move them out of the house. Janelle and the kids moved in with her mother a couple hours away, and Nathan was left all alone with the dogs. Rule 7. Let people know what's going on. Yes, I know the thought of admitting to a close friend you believe your house is haunted may be a daunting one, but it's usually better than the alternatives. The modern world rarely takes these claims seriously. We put ghosts in movies and video games, but when someone actually claims to see one, we aren't quick to believe them. Technology and science have led us to believe we are safe. That is our folly. But it's also a topic for a different day. This is yet another rule that Nathan did not abide by. The worse things that got him and his family, the more secluded he became. On numerous occasions, he phoned the police saying that he believed someone had broken in, but they never found evidence of it. Eventually, they even put him on the blacklist and warned him that any further contact would result in legal trouble. This is yet another rule that Nathan did not abide by. The worst things that got him and his family. Oh, no. Hang on. Started rereading that. Would result in legal trouble. Rather than tell his parents or brother that, or any of his friends what was going on, he retreated into himself. He became fidgety and paranoid. At times refusing to return phone calls and texts from loved ones. He just broke contact, and things only got worse. Rule 8 and 9 sort of belong in the same category. Although one is a little more extreme than the other. Rule 8, if you suspect something is up, it doesn't hurt to perform a cleansing. Like I said earlier, the modern world has little time to entertain these notions of ghosts and supernatural, but that shouldn't ward you off. If you're unsure about whether your home is being haunted or not, then a routine cleansing can do wonders for you. I'm willing to bet that there are mediums and priests in your own town that can get the job done, even if you can't find anyone local. You can always just go online and find instructions to do it yourself. It's not as effective that way, but it's better than nothing. Rule 9. If you're really feeling as though you're in danger, get someone to perform an exorcism. It's the step that no one wants to take, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Priests and spiritual leaders are your go-to for these kinds of things, even if you yourself are not religious. These people honestly do know how to help. It's serendipitous that the Lakeshore's in here tonight. There's some evidence that Nathan was attempting to do this, but it's unknown why exactly it didn't work out. Maybe he second-guessed himself and thought he could handle it. Or maybe his ego took control once again. Hey, Jay. Nathan had been collecting evidence for a while. He had amassed quite a stash of clues. He had audio recordings, which relayed banging on the walls and footsteps in the attics. He took multiple videos, but none of them really showed anything except for the last one. But by that point, it was too late. In his journal, he wrote that he experienced items in the house levitating on several occasions, but sadly he had no recorded proof of this. Well, here's Rule 10. The big one. Whatever you do, don't try to antagonize the spirit. This should go without saying, but angrily challenging the spirit or daring it to manifest is really a bad idea. But as you may have guessed, Nathan and his unlimited stream of testosterone decided to do just that. He got really drunk one night and began ruminating on all that had been happening. Nathan was always a skeptic, but even he couldn't ignore the psychological impact on his family, whether it was imagined or not. He realized his relationship with his children and wife were being heavily strained, and his new house had become a place of hostility. This made Nathan very angry. So Nathan stood up and shouted at his empty house for the spirit to come forth and face him. He was met only with silence, so he shouted again. Never once did the spirit answer his call. After a few more verbose challenges, he broke into a bout of laughter, probably believing himself to look ridiculous. Apparently not everyone who was watching felt the same, though. Nathan managed to stumble into bed not long after and was out cold within a couple minutes. Nathan had kept a security camera in his rooms for hopes of capturing proof. That night, he found something. Around 2:13 a.m., Nathan is seen beginning to stir in his sleep in the security video. He grunts and speaks briefly, but the words are unintelligible. Suddenly, his eyes sprung wide open in the bed and began glancing around the room. Nathan appears to be struggling, and his body didn't move. It's because he was suffering an episode of sleep paralysis, which left him temporarily paralyzed. His eyes continued to dart rapidly around the room. Then something happened to him. Something happened that no one who saw the video could explain. The bedroom door... The bedroom door slowly rolled open, but the darkness in the hallway was all-consuming. Nathan's chest began frantically pumping up and down, and his eyes stretched wide open. Something was then seen moving in the hall. It could have been chalked up to a trick of the light at first, but then a hand was seen reaching through. It was gnarled and spindly, like the wretched malformed appendage of some abyssal denizen. The figure slowly sauntered through the doorway, its tall, dark silhouette nearly grazing the top of the doorframe. It had no definite features, appeared only as a hooded humanoid individual. No eyes or face, just a shadow made corporeal form from Nathan's deepest nightmares. Poor Nathan was heard mumbling and then whimpering frantically, but in his paralyzed state, he was unable to fight back or flee. He could do nothing but watch in absolute horror as the being approached him. It stood at the foot of his bed and just stared at him for about a minute. Nathan continued to hyperventilate and didn't appear to blink even once during the entire ordeal. The thing then finally moved closer. It leaned down to only a couple inches away from his face and appeared to whisper something. It was too quiet for the mic on the camera to pick it up, but needless to say, it did not make Nathan feel any better about his situation. Suddenly, the thing lashed out with its twisted hands, constricting like pythons around Nathan's throat. In his paralyzed state, he couldn't even struggle against his shrouded attacker. Within a minute of Nathan's chest stopping moving and his eyes fell still. The entity retracted its hands and just stared at him for about a minute. Then, as if taunting those who would see the footage, looked directly into the camera. It whispered something again. But again, it was too quiet to discern what it was. Then as quickly as it had appeared, it waltzed out of the room and vanished back into the darkness. Nathan was found by his wife Janelle a few days later. She called the police after an autopsy. Nathan was determined to have died via strangulation. Much as what was shown in the video. Cops scoured the premises and found footprints from the intruder. However, the footprints were also matched to a pair of Nathan's own boots. The police, of course, were not so quick to believe that Nathan was simply killed by supernatural forces. They conducted interviews with the neighbors, friends, and family members, but none of them seemed capable or motivated enough to have done it. There were no signs of breaking and entering, and nothing had been stolen from the house. They came to me and conducted an interview as well, but of course, that was a futile effort. I mean, sure, the fact that Janelle was my ex-girlfriend was reason enough to suspect me, but I quickly dissuaded their accusations. Nathan was my friend, despite him not being a very good friend. What kind of friend bones your girlfriend behind your back anyways? I'm not bitter about it, though. At least not as far as the police are concerned. My alibis were solid, and that's good enough for them. This brings me to my final rule. Rule number 11. Make sure you exhaust all other options before coming to the conclusion that your house is, in fact, haunted. If only Nathan had taken a little more time to investigate his house and himself more thoroughly, then maybe he'd be alive today. Maybe he would have found the many wireless speakers hidden in his attic to play the sounds of the knocking. Maybe he would have found the patches in his air duct that leaked mild doses of hallucinogenic gas or drugs into his home. Maybe he would have detected the dog whistle alarm that caused his dog to race or to react so strangely. If he bothered to check himself, he may have found trace amounts of pseudomethadone, a paralyzing toxin that once ingested will leave a person immobile, yet conscious to all pain. It would have been difficult to find, even as the coroners do not normally test for the substance unless specifically requested. No matter how will you really slice it, this entire ordeal really comes back to Nathan himself. If only he had been a better person and not constantly demeaning his peers at every turn. If only he hadn't been so stubborn and proud. If only he hadn't gone behind my back and boned my ex-girlfriend, thus ruining our future and sending me into the spiraling depths of crippling depression, then maybe I would have helped him. So, you may be wondering, is this my confession? No, of course not. This is only my list of suggestions and rules for how things may have turned out differently for Nathan and his family. These are all hypothetical explanations, and all in no way to be considered incriminating evidence to be used in a court against me, or anyone else for that matter. Besides, if this really was a confession, then that would make anyone who read it an accessory to murder. And we certainly wouldn't want that. I hope you can understand And I do hope that we can trust each other in this regard. After all, I have really good software for tracking IPs. And the modern web makes it incredibly easy to access them. We wouldn't want your house to suddenly become haunted, now would we? I mean, that was pretty good. Hey, Danikin. I hope I'm saying that right. Let me mute you from the channel real quick, so everybody new just gets blocked, and then I bring them back. Yes, I will be streaming for a little bit, at least another hour or so. I barely touched my milk and cookies. We can't have that now, can we? Got woke up by my mom calling, wondering if I'm going back to bed. It's... Oh. I'm not going after you down there. Rule 13. Make sure you grab the cookie by a good part of it. How's everybody doing? You didn't hate that one? Julie writes on walls, the new subscriber 23 hours ago. Julie, do you have multiple accounts? You want a cookie? I was getting Pepsi, and I saw the Chips Ahoy, and I thought, milk and freaking cookies sounds awesome. Milk and cookies and creepy stories. Nobody hates that idea. I just don't want to drop milk everywhere. Oh, Pam. Pam, I think we need to invest in you some kind of hot water front door that pumps water in and it goes all throughout the door. I'm eating snickerdoodles with hot cocoa. Nice. I feel like you just one-upped me. Oh, I love some milk. In fact, I bought 2 of these things. Oh, I'm going to have to break out the other one. Nothing quite like just taking a big chug of milk. I know that's weird. Some of you don't like milk. I love milk. I ate a whole cantaloupe while playing Fortnite. It was great. Awesome. All right. Let's find another story. I have a little pad that I roll on, and it's off to one side, so I keep going, no. It's messing me up. Snickerdoodles and espresso here. Nice. How many of you out there are doing some sort of milk and cookies or something similar to that? I would say let your freak flag fly, but there's nothing. Bovine lactate. Mm-mm. Oh, Cianta, I'm not reading that out loud. That's enough to make me want to quit the stream. Pam hates cantaloupes. Well, thank you, Lake Store. I just called you Lake Store. Lakeshore Paranormal. I appreciate that. We try to do some fun ones here. Hey, Bob. Bob Kaler from Kaler's Aquatics here, everybody. Why are you boned, Bob? Latte and orange chocolate and naked bar. I mean, that's that's close. I mean, I want to find out why Pam hates cantaloupes. That's just weird. Maybe a cantaloupe murdered a cat of hers and it became haunted. There we go. We got to the bottom of it. Being slow. Oh, I'm off in the page 171. Let's go a little bit earlier than that. 168? I don't know. Go. Well, let's check out some of these old ones. Some of these are fun. Bright light. Super bright light. We're trying to load it. I just hope that God. Wait, am I reconnected? Wait, what? Is it back? Is it working again? That's awesome. That means Streamlabs is working again. No, my internet went off and it reconnected. Oh. Here's an oldie but a goodie. This is called The Grove. In the heart of the Rockies. Nah, I don't like reading it like that. Hang on, let me try this again. At full length. In the heart of the Rockies lies a grove of trees growing in a perfect circle. A grove that, aside from this geometric oddity, appears perfectly innocuous from the outside. If one should step foot into this grove, however, then the inside will be as dark as any moonless night in those mountain woods, even on the brightest summer's day. Those who have mistakenly wandered into the grove are rarely in any condition to say what happens inside. Many simply never come out. However, if you are very brave or foolish, You can attempt to camp within the grove. Go in with your eyes shut tight, lie down in your sleeping bag, and no matter what you hear, no matter what you feel, do not open them again. If you somehow manage to find your way to sleep before the grove takes your sanity or your life, you will awaken in the middle of the day to the light of the sun on your face in the middle of a grove. A grove that, aside from growing in a perfect circle and containing your heart's one greatest desire, is perfectly innocuous. If one should step foot outside the grove, however, they will find the outside to be as dark as any moonless night in the mountain woods. That's an old school one. Blood oranges. I love oranges. You know, I was raised in Florida. So, you know, oranges and me are like, you know, we're bros. But when you say the word blood oranges, it's like those are two words that just, you know, they don't meet. Yeah, let's lower this back down. They don't come together. I mean, that's weird, I guess. Wait, how long is the delay now? Like 2 minutes? Yeah, it's like a good minute. It's pretty decent. I raised the delay so my streams would stop falling off. Sorry guys. Who doesn't like okra? Okra's awesome. Hell yeah. You eat killer whales, Scott? What did Scott say? Orca is awesome when cooked properly. Oh, I want to see what he has to say about this one. I mean, I imagine it's a little fatty. No, Scott. You got to go with it. Just keep going with it, bud. Playing Civilization 6. So just listening. Well, right on, Ed. My meth. Sorry about all those mouth noises. I do apologize. I think that's very rude. But I couldn't stop. It was pouring out all over me and had to keep going. Had to go for gold. Alright, that's all the milk and cookies for the night. Alright, it's back to Pepsi. Oh, hell. I don't eat okra or orca. I love a good orca with okra on the side. There's probably no better pairing of food. Asparagus is delicious. What are y'all talking about food for? Let's see what we got for stories. Where's my dang vape at? Hey Siri. Flashlight.
It's on.
I sure would like to have my vape right meow. Oh, there it is. Found it. Oh, son of a. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're just, you know, we'll be all right. Got to charge this thing. Oh no, milk and cookies. It's too bad. I want to try to figure out what the delay is. And this is going to take forever. Tell me when y'all see me type 1, 2. When you hear me say 1, 2, 3, I'm going to type 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to do it 1, 2, 3 and enter now. And tell me, just respond to me when you hear me say 1, 2, 3. Hey, Jesse's here. What's happening, Jesse? Oh, IMG snap. Oh, mukbang. Oh. Some of those really, really disturbing. Oh yeah, this there's a heck of a delay. I really could just do it myself. Just now heard it. Wow. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, that was wow. My camera went boop. So let's find a new story, which none of y'all can have word in, because I gotta. Oh yeah. There we go. My hair's in full. Whatever you want to call it. Alright, let's find. Oh, that felt nice. Here's an old one. These are really short. I like that. This one's called The Argument. Let's try that again. You're the manager for a small store. You hired one of your friends, and you just found out he's been stealing from the register, stealing stock, abandoning his post to visit his girlfriend in the back room while he's the only one on duty. And the argument you had with him in the office just didn't settle it for you. You pound on his door. When he opens it up, he goes pale, soils himself, and staggers back, gasping for breath. It doesn't quite impress you. You figure he just thinks you're showing up with the cops until you step through the door and glance to your side, where you get a good look of yourself in the mirror. Or at least the parts of you that are still recognizable after the shotgun blast that your friend gave you at the end of that argument. I mean, no friend of mine would be shooting me with a shotgun. That was kind of a terrible story. And that was one of the higher rated ones. I'd hate to think what they think is really high rated. The Man in the Snow. Oh, this is a fun one. Everybody likes this one. This one's called The Reflection. You are home alone. You hear on the news about the profile of a murderer who's on the loose. You look out your sliding glass doors to your backyard. You see a man standing out in the snow. He fits the profile of the murderer exactly, and he's smiling at you. You gulp, picking up your phone to your right and dialing 911. You look back out your glass as you press the phone in your ear and notice he's much closer now. Then you drop the phone in shock. There are no footsteps in the snow. It's his reflection. That's just a fun one. What is everybody LOLing about? You guys like The Shape of Water? Why are all the really good streams when I need to be up at 4 a.m. for work? I mean, you could just stay awake. Seen The Shape of Water yet? Power is power. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. You guys are freaking me out, man. Hey, FRF. What is happening? Hey, Shadow Hair. Pam, did you get to walk the doggo? You know, FRF, I was going to say, where the hell are you? Always. You are one who introduced to Chappy. I mean, you could just stay awake for a while. Just stay awake. uh, Pam did. By the way, James, I say you have me on the schedule on Sunday. I think I'm going to do it. Hey, Scooter. My chat is delayed. So, yeah. You know, I was really hoping that I would be able to get... I was really hoping that I could hit the 1,000 mark right before... It's not going to happen. But I will hit the 1,000 soon-ish, if I keep up. Hey, Chappy, how's you doing? Great. Oh, man. Let's find a story. There's a Chappy. That's me. Give me a second. I'm trying to hear a word. Do 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 do. Alright, well, I've got a Japanese one for you. Just making sure I got my Japanese pronunciations right. I know I'm going to mess this up bad, but, well, whatever. This one's called Kuchisake Ona. Here's the link. You're probably all like, why is that link in here? It's the delay. Kuchisake Ona is the legend of a Japanese woman mutilated by her jealous samurai husband who murdered her for infidelity, scarring her horribly and leaving her repulsive. Her jealous ghost still haunts places in Japan, usually on foggy nights, wearing a surgical mask, when she will approach people and ask shyly, "Watashi kirei? Am I beautiful?" The people usually respond with "hi" or "yes." She then pulls down her mask to reveal an ear-to-ear grin, cut by her jealous husband to mar her for her life. Even like this, she will persist. If you answer no, she will take a pair of scissors and cut the same gruesome smile into your face. If you answer yes, she will disappear. The second you go home, she will appear at your door and finish the job. The only way to confuse Kuchisake Onna is to say you are average, which will confuse this mysterious Oniro ghost, maybe. Or to present her with a hard amber candy, or say pomade 6 times. Saying that 6 times should make her flee. I'm having a hard time with this one. She has been seen from the 1970s till the early 2000s, often seen lurking near children whose innocent answers of yes, when asked if she is ugly, will lead to their deaths. Why can I not? It will be done reading before it shows up. I see the chat in real time. Let me see here. Y'all are gonna look forward on this and see me responding to what y'all are saying. Y'all are terrible. Chappy, I'm closing the chat. Too distracted to carry on, my guy. Alright, back to stories. I have fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know. It's the end of an era. The Burt's Bees has run out. I'll have to focus this. Let me see. That's as far as it goes. It can recede back in. I can push it a little bit. But when it comes back out, it won't. I get a little bit on my fingers. I'm a Chappy bot. Oh, because my yeah, and that's gonna take like a. Yep, that's the end of the Burt's Bees. Wow. It's all gone now. Oh no, the Burt's Bees is gone. Was your face ever a creepy story, Chappy? Chappy, sorry, I'm in a mood. What did, There we go. I wish I were sponsored. I have more Burt's Bees that Hope sent me. I just gotta find them. Let me see. I might have them on me. Nope, not there. Nope, not there. They're not up here. I will have to find them for a later time. Poor Mario. Aw, let the kitty back in. So if anybody's wondering, it takes almost a year to go through one of these things. Or roughly 280 something episodes. Oh. So let's find another story. Every time I touch my hair, I lose more. meant fave. Sorry, Chappy. What are you talking about, Ty? What'd you say? Baby Sonic? What the crap is this? Oh, there's a baby Sonic. Oh, that's unsettling. My favorite ever creepy story. That's a good one. Let me see if I can find it. No. Chappy's #1 enforcer. Chappy, auction off that Burt's Bees stick. Bella's not going to make any YouTube videos. God, I want to find it. It was I don't want to say because I want to read it. Probably Po 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 is probably my favorite one right now. What is this one? No, that's not it. Maybe Pip remembers that story. When I taught my daughter how to look things up on YouTube, she doesn't know how to do that. Oh, that's a good idea. Teach your kids how to Google and how to do that stuff. me try something. Search. Maybe. Oh dear, is that Chappy? Chappy? Oh, it's my oh my, damn it. Sorry. Oh, let me up the processor speed on my computer. Whoops, and there goes my yeah, well, okay. Let me up the processor speed. Change advanced settings. Processor maximum. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, we'll use that. Yeah, that's not bad. It's just gonna do it every now and then, unfortunately. It's better than having to restart streams totally. Let me pull back up Streamlabs. There we go. Can I twirl Burt's beeswax into your mustache? You sure can. Yeah, you Seansa, I hate to tell you this, bud, but there's a pretty good delay on the stream. So by the time I know what's happening from y'all, it's gonna be happening for a while. Unfortunately. Sorry. Because it takes about a minute or two for y'all to hear it. Yeah. My apologies, guys. Oh, I think I remember the title. Was it? Good Boy? Nah. Is it this one? I'm sitting here searching for a story. I'm back live again. I'm more confused, LOL. Oh, man. That's not the story. Fish room, you might be welcome to stay here, but I don't know how my roommates will feel about, you sleeping on one of the dogs, sleeping on the couch where the dogs sleep. We'll have to find something for you. I'm not finding the story. Pip, if you're still here, I'm going to message you. We're going to see if some of my more discerning viewers can remember that story. Guess I'm sleeping in Chappy's closet. Ooh. That could be fun. The monster in there might like that. He hasn't had a toy to play with in a long time. I think Pam has the right idea. Oh, hell. Alright, let's see what else we got for stories. I'm trying to find a story right now, guys. If y'all give me 1 second. How many people we got in here? It says 18. That's pretty good. Chappy, the Greedy Baron game. I might read that while I'm looking for this other story. Okay, cat's in the house again. Yay, Pam. I read that as a AXA Chappy's in. What? You guys. So here's a story that wax Chappy. Too much Chappy on the brain, Scott. Let's see here. Let's see if I can. There we go. I don't have a cameraman. I have me. This is called the Greedy Baron game, or the Game of Greed. Here, I can hold this like this. So I can sit back. This was the first game I participated in a ritual. I was a bit surprised that it wasn't to be found on the internet yet. It was only a few days ago that I was dared into playing this weird game, so I remember the details quite well. This game will summon an entity I call the Baron, an allusion to so-called robber barons. All recommendations that apply to other summoning rites also apply here. Do not provoke it. Do not assume that it's a left afterwards. So on and such. Note that a dare is just about the only reason I play this game, even though it's relatively safe. Notice the word relatively, since there is basically no payoff to winning. Players or player 1. Recommendations. Nope. Requirements. 1 large but shallow bowl, tap water, a small number of valuables, trinkets, more on that below, 2 pillows, 1 pack of candles, matches or a lighter, 1 opaque bag, pot or other container, salt, 1 symbol of scarcity for each door or room adjacent to your entrance hall. The symbols of scarcity are used to convince the entity that you are going to summon that you are poor. As such, there is no clear-cut definition as to what these objects should be. Something that is broken or worn seems to work quite well, but can always be an empty container or the like. I just used tattered dirty towel, an empty purse, and a wooden fork. Wood is apparently considered a poor man's metal. What? No, wood's wood. Whatever. I recommend using 3 different items, lest the entity sees through the trick. Rules to the valuable objects, though. They are more restrictive. These can be gems or objects made from precious metals, but since you probably don't have many of those lying around, and could risk losing them, I think it's best to just use monetary coins. Their value doesn't seem to matter. You can even use the coins that are no longer in currency, such as French francs. Whatever you pick, do not use jewelry, ever. In fact, keep any piece of jewelry out of the room, out of the house if possible, and make absolutely sure you're not wearing any yourself. As for the number, make sure you can quickly count them. I wouldn't use more than 10, but fewer than 3 either. I use 7 coins because that's my lucky number. Never use exactly 4 or 13. Notes will not make the Baron appear. Also, this goes without saying, but they have to be valuable in the economical sense of the word. Sentimental value only wastes the Baron's time, and you don't want that. Preparations. Make sure that the room is deprived of all valuables or items that might symbolize wealth. Fancy vases, golden objects. Begin the night. Fill the bowl with tap water and place it on the floor. Open all the objects leading to the entrance hall of your house or the first room you enter while opening the front door. This includes the front door. Make sure that all other doors in the house are closed and that any light source in those rooms is dimmed. Spread out a line of salt in front of each of those doorways. Place the symbols of scarcity in the center of the doorways leading to the entrance hall. They must not be moved at any point during the ritual. Have a good night, precious. Food night. Huh. That was good of me. Light a number of candles near the bowl. The number or placement aren't as important as some of the other rituals. It only signals that the entity where the game will be taking place. 4 candles surrounding the bowl should still work. Place the pillows on either side of the bowl, facing each other. If the room has a wall where something may bring you luck, then it has to be positioned. A family photo or religious symbol, etc. Place 1 pillow near that wall. That will be your seat. Mind the candles. Be seated on one of the pillows. Place an empty container in front of you. Drop the coins in the bowl and wait. The main event. The game will begin when you suddenly feel a chill or see a weak ripple in the water. At this point, abort the ritual. If you feel a chill but no ripple follows it, the candles are blown out, the symbol of scarcity removed, the sensations you are looking for are particularly powerful. For example, the ripples being so powerful they make the water spill. More about aborting the ritual in later section. If none of this happens, continue to the next and most difficult step. Wait until the ripples grow stronger. They should at least reach the edge of the bowl. When this happens, quickly check if all the coins you placed in the bowl are still there. If they are, grab a coin as quickly as you can and place it in the empty container. Never take more than 1 coin at a time. Repeat the process until all the coins are gone. Sounds easy enough. This is where things get complicated. The Baron also tries to collect as many coins as possible. I have not experienced this myself, but I've been told that you will not see coins floating in air. Rather, it will seem like they're never there to begin with. It's hard to explain. One moment you look down and see 7 coins, then blink or your attention briefly fades. The next moment there are only 6. While this is a game, you should always try to win out of respect for your opponent. The best outcomes for you are to either grab all the coins before the Baron does, or let the Baron grab all the coins first. If you manage to finish the game with some coins in your container, the Baron will just harass you into playing again until he can win all of them off of you. In the best case scenario, strangely, he will not do this if you manage to keep all of them. This is a weird one. Hey, Dr. Black. The end. Flip the bowl upside down. Yes, the floor will get wet. Deal with it. Only do this when you have encountered a red flag detailed before, or when all the coins are gone. I cannot stress this enough. Do not do this in the midst of a game in the hopes to keeping your remaining coins. You wouldn't flip a table during a game of chess either, and the Baron does not take kindly to cheating. See below. Turn the lights out and snuff out the candles, but do not close the front door just yet. Check your symbols of scarcity as well as your container. If you have fewer coins than when you started with, or if your symbols of scarcity have moved or vanished, you are to purify those rooms immediately. In the latter case, you may already be too late in preventing those rooms from getting ransacked. Even if you or the Baron possesses all the coins, purify the entrance hall the next day. The Baron searching your house for riches is probably the biggest real threat that can rear its head during this ritual. He won't exactly be subtle about it. With that being said, he will not harm you unless you provoke or cheat him. He will consider the following as cheating: use a container that's anything but completely empty, having another person in the room, they can be present somewhere else in the house, as was the case with me, using toy money or non-monetary coins, tampering with the coins in any way, grabbing multiple coins at the same time, having both hands in the bowl at the same time, filling the bowl with salt water, or keeping salt on your person, keeping a hand behind your back or in your pocket, addressing him. It is recommended you do not speak at all until after you've turned the lights on. Do not do any of these things. Keep in mind that just sitting there and letting the Baron win all the time will make you look weak. There is no telling what kind of unwanted attention such an attitude may draw. Carrying a lucky charm is not considered cheating, but I've mentioned before, do not wear any jewelry. Not sure if watches or piercings count, but it's really better to be safe than sorry in that circumstance. Even though I won, I would not play this game ever again if the entity would still accept. There is simply nothing to gain. What I didn't really have, there's already a risk of reeling in something undesirable. If you are going to play this, good luck and be safe. I'm not sure I like that one. Chappy's the new insomnia med. Oh man. I'm gonna rename my stream. What's happening, Dr. Black? Here is my Pip. Are you here? I make your pants a little bit tighter. Anyways, Pip found one of the stories that are one of my favorites, and I'm going to share it with you. But it's called Good Boy. This is from a year ago. Thank you so much, Pip. Anyways, So this story's that is it. I can't type. This is the perfect story. So anyways, we'll do this story. It's called Good Boy. At least I'm pretty sure this is it. I'm a good pupper. That's what my mother always told me. And that's what I want to believe. I was born during the warm months and lived with my mother and litter until the cold white blanket fell from the sky. It was when the men in the screaming and flashing cars had come and taken us from one another, from our mother and our home. They had brought us to a bigger and brighter place with cold, hard floors and wire cages. And one of my many litter mates were taken by humans. I was the last one taken. And when I whined all night, they put me with Boney, a huge and skinny dog who was lame in one leg. Boney was my friend, and I followed him around and slept beside him too. Oh, I know, salad fingers. Boney was sick, though. Something wrong inside of him hurt him, made him lame. And it was growing. He whined in the night, too, from pain, not loneliness. I would lick his face and his tail would wag, but I knew there wasn't anything I could do to help. And sometimes when he'd cry out in the night, I'd whine softly as well, though quietly so I wouldn't wake him, because I was a good boy, and my mother told me so. One day, after Boney had whined all night, a woman in a white coat had opened our cage door, put a leash on him. Her eyes went wet and runny, which we'd seen before. Boney had told me that when she came into our area with wet eyes and led a dog away, we'd never see it again. Boney said the wet eyes meant she was filled with sad and bad feelings, and that she had to do something that she did not want to do. When I saw her put the leash on Boney, I was filled with bad feelings too, and I barked and threw myself against the cage, but she ignored me and dragged Boney away. As his kind, dark eyes rolled with fear and pain, Boney never came back. One day, a strange man had come in and looked at us. People came all the time and looked at us, and sometimes took one of us away to live with them. Boney told me that we had to be friendly, run towards them, wag our tails, and bark for attention. Boney said that young dogs like me were usually snapped right up, but that people sometimes didn't like dogs like me. And when we got too much older, and the bald healing patch on my neck was probably why I hadn't been taken through those first months. Boney said the hair would grow back, and that if I was a good boy, a friendly dog, someone would take me eventually, if I didn't get too big. Finally, someone did. That strange man, all by himself, with hard hands that tasted of salt and meat. He rubbed my head briskly, his hands heavy against my clipped ears, which were still sore, though they had long since healed. He put his fingers in my mouth too, and felt my legs. "Good boy," he had said. "Good boy." but he seemed to be saying it to himself, and his eyes and the smell were hard to read. I was happy, though, excited to be chosen at last, happy to be taken away from this place with the barking dogs and the wire cages and strange rituals that took my friends away when they got old and sick. And as we left that place, I wagged what was left of my bobbed tail furiously. I happily jumped in the back of his strange, smelly, boxy car with its dark windows and soft, odd-smelling mattress. I liked my new home. The house was huge and dark, and I shared it with a half-wild cat that didn't seem interested in being my friend at all. I had a small door I could squeeze through if I had to go outside. I was fed a lot of raw meat, and I loved the cat and my human too, though he wasn't very friendly, and he wasn't home very often. My favorite times are when the man would take me to the park and would let me run up to certain people if they were alone. I'd jump on them, and they would pet me, and I would lick their faces, and we would laugh, and then the man would come up behind them with a piece of strong-smelling cloth, and he'd put it against their faces, and they would grab his hand and then collapse. He'd then tie their hands and feet, cover their mouths, and put them in his car, and he would tell me I was a good boy, and I'd ride in front with him while they rolled around in the back making muffled noises. I was lonely in the house when the man was away, and excited that we had people in the basement. But time after time, the man just took them downstairs into the dark basement and would never come up again. Sometimes I would hear strange noises and would feel uneasy and hide behind the sofa from the noises and the cold glowing of the cat. The cold glowing eyes of the cat, who crouched in the shadows, chuckling to itself. Its tail wagged in its odd way that it did. Last afternoon, we went to the park and I saw a small human. "Go get her, boy." The man had breathed in my ear as he unleashed me. I ran towards the small human, wagging my stump of a tail so hard that my whole back end swayed. And the human had initially looked afraid, but had then broken into a huge smile and hugged and petted me. "Are you a good boy? Are you a good boy?" she had asked as she laughed, and odd human sounds they make when they're happy. My owner never laughed, though. He looked happy as he stepped up behind her and slipped the cloth over her face. Her eyes had widened, and then, before they closed, I saw it. The moisture running out of the corners. The same thing I had seen in the eyes of the woman in the white coat when she had led Boney away for the last time. It means that they're filled with sad and bad feelings, Boney had said. It means that they were doing something they didn't want to. I felt strange. As we drove home, I could hear the human in the back, rolling around and making sounds. Sounds that sounded like whimpers, and I could still see her wide eyes, shocked, afraid, starting to run with water. The water that meant she was filled with bad feelings. And I whimpered softly to myself, but it was drowned out by the sound of the wind blowing through the car windows, the sound coming from the back and the low rumbling of the man talking to himself, his large, hard hands squeezing the steering wheel again and again and again. That night I heard sounds coming from the basement. I hid behind the sofa, whimpered softly to myself, feeling strange, bad feelings. Why are you crying, you fool? The cat had hissed, his eyes glowing like small moons out of a darker patch in the gloom. She's just prey for the human, for the man to play with, and food for us to eat. No difference. No different than the others. You help the man bring home. The cat's voice low and dripped with content, something like hatred, despite the fact that his tail was wagging and that it was vibrating in a deep, self-satisfied purr. I didn't reply back, though I felt a sick feeling spreading inside of me, a darkness growing that made my legs feel weak. Was this the pain that made Boney whimper in the night? The thing that made his leg lame? The feeling ate away at me as I hid there, and all night I whimpered like Boney had, as the cat prowled around the house, purring and laughing softly to itself. The next morning, when the man left, I nosed open the basement door and descended into the darkness as the cat padded softly behind me. We were forbidden from coming down here. But that never stopped the cat. It wouldn't stop me now. We navigated by sense of smell, and it smelled bad. Like the place I had come from. Fear, desperation, and other things as well. We found the small human, bound hand and foot with her mouth covered. In the faint light I could see that her eyes were wide with fear as I licked her face. Moisture poured out of them. I knew what I had to do. And I chewed at the ropes that bound her. And it took hours to free her hands and feet. And when the ropes finally parted, she threw her arms around me, and I felt the water from her eyes, hot against my neck. The cat watched us silently with something like hate in its glowing eyes. When she was finally free, I led her out of the dark basement, tugging at her sleeve. She exited through the small doggy door and tried to take me with her, but I stayed because I'm a good boy. And the cat and I watched as she raced across the yard, disappearing into the tall, dark woods around the house. "You fool," the cat hissed. "You stupid fool." Then it padded away, disappearing into the shadows that were gathering in the corners of the room and spread through the empty house. And I returned to the basement, to the small room with the odd smells and discarded ropes, to the damp mattress and the darkness, because I knew the man would be home soon and that he would go downstairs and see what I had done. There was no escaping it. I was a good boy, and I would not hide. I descended into the darkness that smelled like meat and fear and blood. I retraced my steps through the dark rooms until I found the place where the small human had been, where all the humans I had distracted and befriended had been bound. I sniffed at the chewed up ropes and at the stairs, and I laid down. But I was not hiding. I was not cowering. I was crouching, and I was waiting. Because I never told you why my mother told me I was a good boy, did I? She had told me She had told me that as I laid panting beside her, bleeding from my raw, torn throat. Unlike my father and brothers, I had refused to fight the other dogs that the screaming men had pitted me against. I had refused to fight back, and a bigger, more vicious dog had torn my throat and ripped hair and skin away. I had went limp, and mine owner at the time cursed at me and kicked me and dragged me away and threw me in the back of this cage I shared with my mother. She had licked my wound as I laid there panting, bleeding, and whimpering. She told me that I was a good boy for not fighting back. A good boy for not sinking my teeth into my enemy's throat. A good boy for not being the killer the humans wanted me to be. Now, I am waiting here in the darkness, thinking about what the man had me do. Thinking about his exposed throat, his delicate bones, and the hot blood rushing beneath his soft skin. I am excited for him to return, because I am no longer his good boy, and I can't wait to show him what I can do. How did y'all like that one? That's one of my favoriteest stories ever. Here's the link if y'all want it. I'm not crying, you're crying. Oh. Yeah, I like that one. That's a good one. Well, he's a good boy. Aw. Aw. That's a fun story. Y'all can thank Pip for finding that one for me, because I couldn't find it. This is a fun story. Yeah. Good boy. That was cool. I like that one. Julie didn't mute me. Tenra almost cried. See, Chappy had to stop to wipe the tears from his mustache. That's right. Julie didn't mute it. I call BS. You cry when you see people cry? Hey, Pond and More. How you doing? If you guys like koi fish, y'all should check out Pond and More. There's some awesome videos of koi fish on there. I sure did mute you, Chappy. Well, you shouldn't have, because it was a good story. And it's not sad at all. I mean, it's a little sad. It's whatever. You work tomorrow? Can't toy with my emotions? Oh, you guys. So we've been going for about 2 hours. I don't know how much longer I'm going to go for. Oh, that's right. Dr. Black's going to do a stream. Oh. You're only half done with your cigar? You're not a waster? How long does it take for you to finish a cigar? Or how long does half of it take? Either I can keep streaming for a while, or we can all hop over to Dr. Black's stream. Hey, Pond and More. There's kind of a delay, so... You teared up on the 24-hour stream the other morning when thanking people, but nobody noticed. I've got a weird standard for creeping now, Chappy. Suspenseful, eerie, fluffy animals with warm, fuzzy underdog endings. Standard that no stories tend to have. Chappy should go until 2020. That would be a 24-hour stream. I don't think you guys are ready for that, and I'll have to stream tomorrow, but I will. How long until the stream? Always good to see you, Ed, my brother. That's how long the, as soon as Dr. Black said that, that's how long the delay is, guys. I might be awake. I'll try. Three hours from now. Yeah, I'll try. You're having 24-hour stream withdrawals. Was a good time. You know what we can probably do? We can have a couple of you up here talking in the Discord. It's kind of harder to do video, but I don't know if that's something y'all be interested in doing. Ooh, look at my hair tonight. Dang. It's all full and stuff. Oh, that's terrible. Wow, baddest delay ever. Yeah, it's pretty decent. See you, Ty. Has fun. You'll start at 10:30. I don't even want to make guarantees, but I want to see if I can get a hold of Simple Cooking Channel. Let me see here. See if I can't get him involved. He's got a pretty big YouTube channel. For you people out there in Australia. It's one of my buddies. Let me see here. Yeah, here you go. See if I can't get him involved. He hasn't done a live stream in a while, but that's one of my boys. Oh. I think maybe some people in the chat came from his streams too. But I'll see if I can get a hold of Jason at all, and see if I can't get him to pop on. Oh, fish room fever. Now it smells nice. Wait, I just got a pop-up about something. I don't know what it was. Oh well. I'm getting high. Oh, Seance's always getting high. Jesse, I think I was, but Jess made all but 4 hours, and she was on screen. All one of me? Oh, it doesn't come out as good when I barely blow on it. I'm just playing around. Ha! Check that out. I'm above Todd's Kitchen and Greg's Kitchen in his featured channels list. That's a weird flex. Even the host didn't make it at 24 hours. Here's a promise. When I hit 1K, I will do a 24-hour stream that I will be on screen for most of it, except and then I'll probably get something like StreamYard and have other people up. I'll have my fish people up. I'll have my my regular people up. Let me fix this thing. I keep rolling off of it. Stand by 1 second. Yeah, that's good. Every time he reads ha ha ha, it reminds me of my BFF Dave. Oh shoot. What do I roll cut on? Nothing. I'm good. Alright, let's see if we can find another creepy story for you guys. I have way too many windows open. Hey guys, if you aren't subscribed to Fish Room Fever, this fella right here, consider subscribing. Let's get him closer to 1,000. I'd appreciate that. He's good people. He makes content. Alright. Dave's not here, man. That's how I always read that if I see it. We're going to try this story. This one's called Takeout by Michael Fright. Gotta fix the hair. Let's see. Yeah, that looks alright. It's funny, on this screen, on this screen that y'all see, it looks blue. But on my other screen, it doesn't look blue. Chappy, 3, 2, 1 lag. Yeah. So let's do this story. As the sun sank low in the evening sky, the residents of Belmoir were still reeling from the horrors of the night before. Nearly 15 hours after all hell broke loose at the intersection of Bendigo Boulevard and Creek Road, everyone was still asking the same questions. Who started the devastating fire that leveled the Wawa Superstore? And what the hell happened to Cheryl Myers, Karen Daniels, and the 5 of those whose the town's police officers, 2 of which were found crushed against their own cruiser? While authorities from multiple jurisdictions spent all day scouring evidence and interviewing witnesses to try and piece together the horrifying events from earlier that day, answers were slow in coming. Terrified and confused, the public fed on all rumors running rampant on social media, especially the one about a mysterious car said to have shot flames 50 feet in the air. A vehicle not only witnessed by at least half a dozen people as it chased Karen into the industrial park, but one caught on a 6-second cell phone video recorded as it crossed through the Sunoco station parking lot before going airborne, trailing fire and smoke behind it. Unbeknownst to anyone, however, was the fact that a malevolent force had been awakened when the historical Harrison house was leveled, desecrating graves at St. Mary's Cemetery, and now there was hell to pay. In a town full of secrets and forgotten past, evil had returned home, and it was here to stay. It was about 7:58 in the evening when Beth finally realized she hadn't had her dinner yet. Having been off work, she had lost track of the time, spending all day watching the news and monitoring updates on her phone about the tragic events that happened just a half mile up the road from her house, where the ashes of the Wawa Superstore were still smoldering. Living alone with her tiny chihuahua, Blue, and her pet parakeet named Stickler, Beth usually loved her days off because her house was never a mess. With no big chores to catch up on and no one around to bother her, she could easily spend the day binge watching shows without a care in the world. On this day, however, reality hit a little too close to home. Of the 2 women missing in the morning's tragic event, one happened to be a close friend of hers, while the other was someone she knew from back in high school. To make matters even more concerning was the fact that the 2 of the town's finest were now dead, and 3 others were nowhere to be found. Taking a pause from the news, Beth muted the TV and grabbed her cell phone off the coffee table in front of her, pulling up the contracts list. She scrolled down to Paradise Pizza and placed a call before switching it over to speaker. As she sat on the end of her couch, waiting for someone to answer, Blue jumped up next to her and laid down, while Stickler chirped playfully away in the background. Several blocks away, at the pizza shop, the owner of the store hurriedly marched from back of the kitchen over to the front counter, where a white t-shirt and a stained apron and looking just a bit sweaty, he reached under the counter and quickly answered the phone. "Hello, Paradise Pizza," he declared loudly as he placed it against his ear. "How can I help you?" As the customer began speaking, the owner hurriedly wedged the phone in place between his head and left shoulder, nodding to himself as he wrote everything down on a thin notepad. At the end of the order, he repeated it back to verify its accuracy. 1 large pizza and a 2-liter bottle of cherry Pepsi. He listed for her reply. "Pickup or delivery?" Again he waited. "Delivery, what's your address?" He wrote the number of the street down on his notepad. "Todd Avenue is practically around the corner," he said. "We're not too busy at the moment. Give us about 20 minutes, thank you." As he hung up the phone, his young delivery driver entered in through the front door. "I got another order for you to take out." Putting her cell phone down on the arm of the couch, she unmuted the television and placed her feet on the top of the coffee table, leaning back into the sofa. She crossed her legs and got comfortable as Blue lied still against her left leg. Unconsciously rubbing his head with her fingers, Beth intently focused on the updates coming across the tube until she became oblivious to everything around her. Barely a minute had gone by, though, when the behavior of both animals suddenly changed. Raising his head straight up, Blue looked around the room, sniffing the air and growling intermittently as Stickler's happy chirps turned into panic squawking. Jumping off the couch without Beth even realizing it, Blue hurried out of the living room into the foyer, moving his little paws a mile a minute, his nails tapping loudly across the hardwood floor as he ran up to the front door and stopped. Growling softly as he sniffed the air, Blue moved cautiously forward, repeatedly pausing until he got within 2 feet of the door. Lying on his belly, he focused on the thin line of daylight shining in from underneath. Almost immediately, the fur on the back of his hair on his back began rising, causing him to bare his teeth and snarl at something unseen just on the other side. Right about then, a low scraping sound, like that of a heavy cinder block dragging across another, began to grow louder, until just a few seconds, it grew into an ear-splitting shriek that culminated with a tremendous thud against the front door. As a moving shadow outside blocked all the daylight from shining underneath it. Instantly, Blue backed away from the door, barking and growling at the danger it sensed outside. Brought back into the moment, Beth heard her dog going crazy and immediately looked in its direction. "What is it, buddy?" Thinking that she may have lost track of time, she looked at the clock on the wall, but it was currently 8:07 p.m.
too soon for her dinner to have arrived yet. Standing up, she stretched for a moment before walking towards the foyer. Passing by her pet parakeet, she noticed Stickler was jumping around his cage, flapping his wings and squawking, clearly agitated by something. Highly unusual for the bird. Tapping lightly on his cage, she shushed him softly. "It's okay, buddy." Behind her, Blue was still barking and growling at the door, seemingly having lost his mind. Turning around, she walked several more steps over to him, scooping him up in her arms. But as she did, she failed to notice the shadow moving away. "Good boy," she softly whispered in his ear as she kissed him on top of his head. But Blue was still going berserk. Seeing her tiny dog acting so ferociously made her laugh. "What's the matter, boy?" Stepping up to the door, she took a peek through the peephole, but there was nothing outside. "There's no one out there, Blue," she told him as she turned and went back to the living room. "Good night, Bella." Using a long, thin paddle to reach deep in the back of the fiery brick oven, the owner of the pizza shop pulled out a large cheese pie and quickly slipped it into a box for carry-out. Placing the paddle down on a stainless steel table, he then picked up a box and carried it over to the front counter, handing it to the young kid who was waiting to deliver it. "Don't forget to take a 2-liter bottle of cherry Pepsi with you." "You got it, boss," the teenager replied as he slid the pie into a thermal bag. Then, turning from the counter, with the pizza balanced on his left forearm, he stopped in front of the cooler, stocked with a variety of 2-liter bottles, picked up a cherry Pepsi before walking it out to his car. Leaning through the open passenger side window, he placed the order on his seat, circled around the front, and got in on the driver's side. Starting the engine, he then shifted into drive and waited for his foot on the brake until the traffic on Browning Road having cleared enough in each direction for him to make a hard U-turn. Heading towards the 7-Eleven, he made an easy left onto Creek Road, going only 2 blocks more before slowing down enough to make a hard left onto Todd Avenue. But just as he was about to make the turn, something struck his vehicle from behind, spinning his car 180 degrees before bumping up against the curb in the opposite direction. For a few seconds, the teenager sat motionless in his seat, holding the steering wheel with a death grip, dazed and out of breath. "What the hell?" he cursed. Looking to his left, he expected to see some kind of wrecked vehicle beside him, but to his bewilderment, nothing was there. Sticking his head far out the window, he looked all the way behind him, but there was no vehicle in sight except for a distant flashing light of several emergency vehicles where the Wawa superstore had burnt down and the street was closed. Opening the door, he stepped out and looked around, but there was no other car on Creek Road but him. What the? Baffled, he marched over to the rear of his car, expecting to find it smashed to pieces, but to his surprise, there wasn't even a scratch. Taking a few steps back, he rubbed his hands across the top of his head, trying to understand what had just happened. If nothing had hit his car, then what the hell caused him to spin around? Kneeling down to the asphalt, he glanced under his car, searching for something out of the ordinary, but nothing was amiss. Getting back into his car, the teen then closed his door and paused for a moment. Staring out into nothing, he played the event in his mind again and again. How could he possibly get anywhere to believe what had happened to him when he knew he wouldn't believe something telling him it's the same story? Taking a deep breath, he glanced over his order he was still supposed to deliver. He was happy to see that it stayed on the seat and wasn't damaged in the accident. Breathing a sigh of relief, he put the car into drive and made a right turn onto Todd Avenue. Switching off the lights as she left the bathroom, Beth could hear Blue growling and barking again as she walked down the hallway on her way to the living room. Passing the couch, she marched straight into the foyer to find her dogs back at the front door. Stepping up behind the dog, she watched him, dumbfounded amusement, as he carried on like a rabid animal, barking relentlessly at something. But what was it? He hadn't a clue. "What's up with you tonight?" she laughed. Stepping over the dog, she took another peek out the peephole, but again, there was nothing. Turning around, she grabbed Blue off the floor and carried him back to the living room. But that didn't stop him from wanting to go after whatever had his attention. Holding him tightly, as she sat back down on the couch, she rocked and shushed him like a newborn baby, hoping to calm him down. At the very moment, the kid pulled up in front of Beth's house, screeching his car to a stop before throwing open the driver's door. A quick look at the clock revealed a time he didn't want to see, 8:27 p.m. Not wanting to be any more late than he already was, he leaned over the center console and grabbed the pizza and the 2-liter bottle of soda from the passenger seat before rushing up the walkway to the front door. Although it hadn't taken a while, Beth eventually got Blue to settle down on the couch beside her, left leg gently caressing his head until he finally fell asleep. It was in difficult times like this that her dog was more than just a pet to her. He was her companion, and so was Stickler. In truth, their relationship with each other was symbiotic. While Blue showed her love every single day, Stickler, on the other hand, provided her with soothing song and simple conversation whenever she talked with him. Simply put, she needed them just as much as they needed her. So as peace and quiet once again returned to the humbled abode, Beth found herself So as peace and quiet once again returned to her humble abode, Beth found herself totally relaxed on the sofa, channel surfing the news with the TV volume on low. Looking for updates on the tragedy down the street, her heaven was abruptly shattered when her cell phone suddenly began to ring, causing her to jump out of her skin. "Hello?" she answered breathlessly, hoping Blue wouldn't get all worked up again. The voice on the other end of the line was quick to respond. "This is Paradise Pizza," he identified himself. "Has my driver been to your house yet?" Glancing up at the clock on the wall, she looked at the time. It read 8:42. "No, not yet," Beth replied. "I'm terribly sorry about this," the owner of the pizza shop apologized. "I don't know what's going on. He left with your order almost 25 minutes ago and hasn't returned yet. I've been calling him, and he isn't answering the phone, and now I got more orders waiting to be delivered." "Well, I'll tell him to call you if he gets here," Beth told him. "Listen, because you've waited so long for your order, your meal's on us," the owner informed her. "So if my driver gets there to your house before I can get a hold of him, tell him what I said." "Thank you," Beth exclaimed happily. "No," the owner said appreciatively. "Thank you." When the call ended, Beth placed the phone back down on the right arm of the couch and continued watching the news. Not even a minute later, however, a strange, repetitive noise began interfering with her listening to the TV. Thinking she might be hearing things, she immediately muted the television. As soon as she did, it became apparent that she was hearing the ringing of a phone from somewhere nearby. Turning her head in different directions, she tried to pinpoint the source of the sound. It wasn't long before she was certain that the ringing was coming from in front of her house. Standing up, she paused to verify the direction again. This time she clearly heard it coming from the foyer. Thinking it must be the pizza man at the door, she went to greet him, but the moment she left the boundaries of the living room, both Blue and Stickler simultaneously started to flip out. Alarmed by her animal's suddenly changing behavior, Beth was shocked at the sight of Stickler throwing himself into the cage, repeating, squawking, "No, no, no, don't you do it." Caught off guard by Stickler's actions, she was startled for a second time when Blue raced by her like a bat out of hell, barking and growling at something outside. "What is wrong with the two of you tonight?" she shouted over them. "It's just the pizza guy." Stepping up to the front door, Beth became gently soothed. Nope. Stepping up to the front door, Beth gently scooted Blue to one side with her right foot as she leaned in close to peek through the peephole. Although the sun was low on the horizon and darkness was closing in, there was still enough daylight outside to clearly see a car parked in front of her house, with the driver door wide open. "I told you it's the pizza guy," she chided them. Unlatching the chain and lock and deadbolt, Beth stepped back and opened the door. As she did, Blue backed away, still snarling viciously at something out there. "Quiet," she hollered at them. Looking up from the door, Beth expected to see the pizza guy standing on the other side of her screen door with the pizza in hand. But instead, she found a cell phone upside down. She found a cell phone upside on her walkway, ringing endlessly, and her pizza half out the box laying in the grass. "What the?" she mouthed silently to herself. As the cell phone continued to ring, she briefly looked across the front yard, but found nothing out of the ordinary, nor any sign of the delivery guy. Not sure what to make of it all, she ignored the persistent warnings of her pets and slowly opened the screen door. Stepping out of her front step, she searched her yard again, seeing nothing and no one around. She let the screen door behind her close as she took another step outside. Bending down, she grabbed the cell phone and stood back up. Turning it over on the screen, she immediately saw the contact's name, Paradise Pizza. At that moment, Beth heard a frightening sound that sent shivers down her spine. A loud, insect-like clicking noise just off to her right that made her spin around to see what it was. Almost immediately, she noticed a pair of lifeless legs on the ground disappearing out of sight behind the far side of her house. Sudden terror gripped her entire being, turning her blood ice cold. Fearing for her life, she darted back to the safety of her house. But just as she reached the latch on the screen door, an ear-piercing screech came out of the night sky as something struck her hard from behind. In an instant, it was over. Beth was dead. An unearthly force had hit her so hard, it sent her crashing through the screen door, where she lay face down on her foyer floor, covered in blood, half inside the house, half out. For once, Blue became silent. Rolling over on his left side, he cowered before the dark, shadowy entity rising up out of the ground by the feet of his former owner. Its clicking noises grew louder as it towered higher and higher in the doorway. Nervously licking his lips and beating his tail, Blue watched as the entity slowly pulled Beth's body out of the door until she vanished into the night. Too afraid to move, Blue just lay still on the floor next to the cell phone that kept ringing. And that's it. Who wants pizza? Why does that not sound bad? We got Chappy hair mustache like this. If my facial hair were this color, that'd be a pretty fancy mustache, wouldn't it? Or like a beard. I don't know, I can't. Like that. I don't know. Swipe texting was so 2000s. Well, the iPhone still swipe texts. I don't know what you guys are talking about. So I got this flavor, and I'm not that much of a fan of it. It's alright. I'm going to try this one now. It's ice. A green apple ice. And this one's dewberry fruit ice. Ooh, this one smells nice. Let's see how it tastes. Ooh, it's potent. They didn't have my standard flavor there, so I had to go with these other flavors. What did I do with my vape? Gonna feel really stupid when I find it. There it is. Ooh, I like that one. Well, you're welcome, Fish Room. Raggy? Kisaragi Station? Ooh, I like that one a lot. Green apple. That story said 11 minutes. I felt like it was longer than 11 minutes. Oh, this one's a confusing one. This is like a back and forth on the radio. Who's leaving? I would not. Oh, shoot. My mic. Test. Oh, wait. No, it's good. Okay, I thought my mic was messed up. I would not give Miss Mel drugs. Her husband's a detective. She's just trying to make you go to jail. Julie, we must be related because my kids have written floor to ceiling on most of the walls. Read one side as Burt's Bees. Oh, it's too confusing to do like that. I gotta wait for the delay. I'm waiting for the delay for my responses. No, I'll do like two-sided stories whenever I can get someone on stream with me that wants to read a story. Homicide, Chappy, we're good. I don't know about that. He works with cops. You leave my husband out of my farming needs. Oh. This is a tasty one. Do my eyes look blue tonight? I don't know. I can't tell. Whatever. Let's see what we got for other stories on here. Doobly doobly do. You know what? I'm just gonna sit and chat for a little while. Is Dr. Black still in here? Oh, fish room. That's what magic erasers are for. Speaking of, he's probably wondering where I am. Night all. Fish room, you gotta invest in magic erasers. Those things work great, but they're kind of expensive. I'd read a story. You'd read a story with me? Yeah, when I do the 24-hour stream, we'll do that. How's that sound? I think I'd like that. So I was probably thinking that I'll do Streamlabs, and then I'll probably overlay with StreamYard or something. I'm not sure yet. We'll figure something out. I don't know what y'all are smiling about. Did I do something? What Game Boy game should I play, guys? Name any. Pokemon? Puts pigs in oven, patiently waiting. Entire pigs. The cute little ones, too, before they get all big. So baby pigs. We're gonna try this one. Magic erasers ain't got nothing on these kids. Yellow. Pokemon Yellow. This one's called Don't Let Them In. Oh, I've read this one. Damn it. Never mind. It's a good one, but... Ocarina of Time. Ooh. I said... Oh, you hate Pokemon. Sad. Chappy is sad. Oh, I've got one. Play Amazing Tater. Chappy, the Fed Up game. Hate is so full on. This is a short one. This one's called The Fed Up Game. How to go to another world. Fed up. This ritual is recommended for people who are fed up with their lives or who want more excitement in their lives. Write a hexagram as large as possible on a paper measuring 5 by 5 centimeters and write fed up, Akita in Japanese. So you'd have to look that up, but it looks like this. Y'all are probably going to be wondering why I'm writing this. Oh, I can't copy. So you're going to have to look that up. Here's the link. In Japanese, inside the hexagon. Inside the hexagram. Sorry. When you finish writing, you will go to sleep holding the paper in your hand or with the paper under your pillow. Next day, you will wake up and the paper is gone, and you will feel a difference in the air or something out of the ordinary happens to you. Then you know you have been successful. The reason the paper disappears is not because you have lost it, because you have changed places with yourself in another world. So there you go. Oh. Well, I think I might go off. A couple hours, so around 6 our time. So it's 4 a.m. my time. How long till the stream? 6 a.m. How's everybody doing out there? I'm waiting for people to respond back. Is Dr. Black still here? Hey, John H. I just subscribed to you. He said he might start early. Well, that's awesome. My first Chappy stream. Thank you. It was awesome. Well, thank you, Holly. I appreciate that. I'd appreciate if you subscribe. Any of you that aren't subscribed, please. I'm trying to hit that 1,000 mark. Hey, Yandere. There is a delay. I'm sorry. You know. I'm trying to figure out which. Ooh, I like that blue. Yeah, I like the blue. Oh, you know what I didn't have? I didn't have my friend. Nope. Wait, what? Yep. There it goes. I forgot about that guy. I am Chappy, but there seems to be a mammoth delay. Yeah. I'm typing this as I write this. The delay is because my internet is shitty sometimes. I do have a Facebook. Let me find the link. I am terrible about responding on Facebook. In fact, I have new messages. I missed a call. Missed a thumbs up from somebody. Mark Turner, Bob Kaler. He added me to Facebook. And yeah, okay. You already are. That's awesome. Well, yeah, with that, I think I might sign off. If any of you want to join the Discord, I'll probably be in chat for a little while. I'm not tired yet. I'll probably be heading over to Dr. Black's stream when he finally decides to stream. And I think that'll be cool. Yanderi's between awake and asleep. Some shitty nets is better than no nets. That's true. Hi, Chappy, go to bed. Yeah. Y'all should be able to view me in 1080p at 60 frames. But I know sometimes the oh yeah, 1080 at 60 frames. You get all high def with my face. My forehead looks really flat from one angle. You can use part of my forehead as a straight line thing, like a straight edge. That's what I was looking for. Hi, Chappy. Go to hell, lol. What? Jesus, Sianta. And we got 20 people in here again. Well, I'm gonna get off here. And you know, I love you all, and I'll probably be on Mr. Black's stream when he streams, if I'm not asleep. Hopefully I can fall asleep, because that would put me back on my regular time. But we'll see. But yeah, I'll be in Discord for a little while, and we'll go from there. Well, alright, it was very nice streaming with all of you, for all of you, and I'm glad you all joined, and we'll have to do it again. And until then, have a wonderful, creepy night. Oh, and whatever you do, don't turn around. Do 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 do.